Welcome back, everybody, to our behind-the-scenes look at Reckless. Reckless is currently under construction. We're in the midst of trying to take all of the ideas and the outlines that we've been putting together over the past few months, and we're putting it into reality. This is one of my favorite parts of the process. However, it's also very difficult to get ideas across in movement. One of the challenges of creating a physicality that creates a storyline is that you have to break out of the box of classical ballet. A tendu is beautiful, but it doesn't say very much. There's not a lot of emotion that comes through in just the pure line of ballet. One of our jobs is to find more physical, guttural movements that will immediately evoke a certain feeling or thought in our audience's minds. With Reckless, because there are so many heavy and weighty topics, this becomes a very intense process in the studios. It's difficult when we're physicalizing movement to not let it become a difficult and dark burden that we carry with us through our normal lives. I'm sure you've noticed this, but even for yourself, your body carries a story. Every muscle ache, every fear, every anxiety, every joy, every deep love physicalizes itself in your body. We experience this as humans on a daily basis. So when you're asking your body to experience things that Gomer is going through, like trafficking and abuse, it does leave a small impact on the body of the dancer. Even as much as we try to separate rehearsal from reality, there is always that little overlap where you have to intentionally put away the work of the day so that you can move on into your personal life without feeling the weight and the intensity of Gomer's story. Because the character of Gomer is so complex, I've chosen to portray her through 4 dancers. There will be Gomer at 35. This is the first Gomer that we see. She's married to Hosea and she has 2 young children. The next Gomer you meet is Gomer's intellect. She's with Gomer throughout the ballet and she's expressing that more cognitive thought that lives in the back of our mind. The third Gomer is Gomer's subconscious. This dancer is going to portray the emotions and intentions that well up from Gomer's past experiences and from Gomer's personality that Gomer may not be aware of. The last woman to play Gomer plays her as a 15-year-old girl. She shows how Gomer is first brought into the world of sex trafficking, and we see how the intellect and the subconscious develop from 15 years to 35 years throughout the course of the ballet. I've chosen to use this device because I think it will give the audience a more clear picture into the gray space in which Gomer lives.
Hi, my name is Libby Denon. I'm a company artist at Ballet 58 and I play the role of Gomer's subconscious.
Hi, I'm Leslie Gray and I am a senior apprentice here at 58 and I am playing the role of young Gomer.
Hello, my name is Lorianne Robertson. I'm a lead artist at Ballet 58 and I am playing Gomer's intellect.
Hi, my name is Valerie Linsner. I'm a company artist at Ballet 58 and I am playing the role of older Gomer.
It's been really interesting getting to see the creation process, mainly on these 3 wonderful ladies, and getting to watch it, but then also be in the back and try to internalize the movement for myself, because really I am trying to be Leslie in a way, trying to pick up her movement quality so that I can bring that back for when Gomer is older, and also being able to still experience what she's doing when she's younger so that when I'm older I still have context.
At the start of the ballet, I'm 14 years old, so kind of having to go back into time and think about somewhat of my own life of where I was at 14. So it's just an interesting thing to navigate, trying to find the aspect of, she's trying to figure it out for herself, but having this new relationship that she's also trying to explore as well. I think those emotions she's having a battle with, and it seems like a great thing that's happening, but as we find out later, it's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's really interesting being only one part of her brain, because you dive into the character and there's a whole range of thoughts that are going on, and it's like, okay, I portrayed this section, and even in that there's so many layers to just her subconscious, right? But one thing I always have to think about is just like every time we learn a movement, it's okay, this is the step as it's given. How would I portray that as a subconscious? Because I'm not a person, but I have a body, but I have to also portray Leslie's version of Gomer, and it's a huge challenge.
It feels somewhat kind of like gears. Like we have to get all of our cogs in the right spots to like function together so that we can actually be all of those things for Gomer and tell her well. So when we're embodying the movement, I know we're going to get there eventually, but it's a lot of like, oh, my cog wasn't quite synced with your cog, and now we're like, you know, rubbing against each other wrong in our movements. They're not synced up, and so that's definitely going to be cool to see come together over the course of time of becoming one person as three people, or the swapping out of four.
Hi, I'm James Wainwright, company artist with Ballet 5/8, and I will be playing the role of International Blue in Reckless.
And I'm Samuel Upsall. I'm a solo company artist with Ballet 5/8, and I'm playing the role of Hosea. For character research for myself, I've been focusing sort of on the original source material, which is the book of Hosea. So I've read that a couple times, and just looking into the character of Hosea and how he's able to reach out to Gomer and show that compassion and that love, which we now, seeing the continuum of the Bible, we see that as an illustration of God's love for us.
It's hard playing this level of antagonism, this level of manipulation. It's hard on me mentally, spiritually, emotionally. So really, I'm not this person that I'm playing. I hope to never come off as this person, but I need to take things that I've seen through this research and taking it to its drastic ends, dramatizing it so that it can be finding how I can materialize that into physical movement while also showing the character for what it is.
I think for me, a challenge that I sort of foresee is just going to be playing Hosea in a way that's truly nuanced and can be seen as authentic, where the intentions and the motivations of Hosea, I think, can be sometimes hard to understand, where if we think about it in our own life, just the reaching out to somebody in the sex trafficking world and then marrying them and then having kids with them and then having them go back to that world and then still forgiving them, that's a hard thing to portray in a way that is truly authentic to that leading of God's will. So finding that in a way that shows the internalization and the love that is real, that isn't just sort of this fake, oh, I'm told that I have to do this, but something that's deeper. So it's a challenge that is daunting, but it's also something that I'm looking forward to as we finish the choreographic process of Reckless.
One question that I get asked frequently is, how do you take a concept and turn it into movement? One of my favorite devices is called making a phrase. A phrase is a sequence of dance steps. It's something that we create in the studio that has a little bit of ballet movement, but also a lot of rhythm and storytelling interwoven. I'll come up with 8 or 16 counts worth of movement, and then the dancers will learn it and extrapolate it into many different iterations of that same phrase. This way of working allows us to start with something other than a blank page. I usually spend a week to 10 days creating phrases before I make any of what you would call the real steps of the ballet.
My name is Laura Peterman. I'm a company artist with Ballet 5/8, and I am playing one of the members of the Greek chorus.
My name is Jessica Lore. I'm a solo artist with Ballet 5/8, and I'm also playing one of the members of the Greek chorus.
My name is Olivia Cruzy. I'm a solo artist with the company, and I'm also playing a member of the Greek chorus.
My name is Elizabeth Marlin. I'm a company artist with Ballet 5/8 and I'm playing a member of the Greek chorus.
I think something that's really interesting about being part of the Greek chorus in this ballet is a lot of times when you're approaching a role in a ballet, you're just that one role and you can kind of focus in on how am I going to portray this role and their character arc throughout. Whereas with the Greek chorus, you're kind of part of something bigger. You are part of the whole group, and so there are points in the ballet where all together, every person in the Greek chorus is portraying something as one, but then there are those moments where you can kind of break off and be more individual, which is really interesting. And then beyond that, not only are you kind of morphing from a whole picture to like your individual picture, but you're also morphing from being an inanimate object at one point and then being a person.
Yeah, and I think something that's really fun about that also is that there's so many different dancers in the group, and so however like the group as a whole we decide we're going to play this certain movement, whether the dynamic is soft or sharp or really subtle, you have like so many different dancers embodying that dynamic, so it gives the full picture coming at the audience so much more texture and like depth to it.
That's been challenging, I think, jumping back into the season, having to go through those physical hurdles of coming off of layoff and everything, and then going through the mental hurdles of knowing all the different counts when this person is going through this character transformation, like street lamp to dancer, when you're going through that, making sure you're still telling the story. So I think making all of that come together seamlessly is definitely a challenge. It's really fun, but it's also a challenge.
I think another thing is the amount of freedom that Julianna is giving the Greek chorus to kind of just find our voice. And because there's so many of us, we have to collectively communicate with each other so that we're portraying the same voice, a unified voice. Or if she doesn't want it to be unified, we have to make sure that we're presenting different aspects of what she wants to portray. So it's a communication exercise as well between all of us working together and with Julianna.
One thing that's cool about having everyone together is the voice is amplified so much more. So you can be a lot more subtle in your movement. It's not so much like dramatic acting where you have to read to the fifth balcony. When you have multiple people doing the same thing, it reads no matter what, in a sense. So that's been really interesting, and to make sure that you have that side eye going with your other dancers, the peripheral vision, so you're all working together. But even in the past couple weeks, I have just felt that unity of working together, which has been really neat. It feels like a team coming through to tell the story together. We're almost one character in a way. So that's been really neat to have us all working towards the same goal.
Whenever I create a narrative work, one of the most important parts is creating a world for the story to live in. It's a funny thing to say because, of course, the story is the main plot. But at the same time, the world around the story has to be rich and diverse. If the world that supports the story falls flat, then the story itself feels one-dimensional. As we're creating a world, it involves every aspect of the production, from the costumes to the lights, the projections, and of course the dance itself. When I'm creating a world, I have to think about the context of each movement. What time of day is it? That informs the lighting. What season is it? That informs the coloring. Where am I at? Are we in 2001 or are we in 2019? What are the relationships between the characters? Do they know each other? How old is Gomer? What does she look like when she's young? And how does she age? There are so many questions that are involved in creating a world that is seamless and cohesive. On our next episode of Behind the Curtain, you'll get to see how the dancers have overcome some of the tough mental blocks associated with creating a ballet on this subject matter. The dancers are true artists. They spend so much time working behind the scenes to be able to play these characters with truth, but also with sensitivity. In our next episode, you'll see things as they begin to round the corner of completion. The ballet will be a little bit more finished, and you'll get to see a bit more of our completed choreography. We hope you join us at the Studebaker on March 13th for the premiere of Reckless.